This is Populations and Resources, Lesson 2.2, Activity 4. I'm getting ready to show you the yeast experiment. Are you ready? Do a drum roll. All right, so each of these cups had 1 tablespoon of yeast and different amounts of sugar. Cup A had 1 tablespoon of yeast with no sugar. Cup B had 1 tablespoon of yeast with a pinch of sugar. And a pinch is literally like you just like have sugar and you pinch it and put it in there. And then cup C had a teaspoon of sugar with a tablespoon of yeast. So you can see that not much going on there. And if we move to B, B is a little bit higher and there's lots of bubbles going on in there. And I'll give it a little stir just because it's gross. And then C is crazy. You can see that one rose a lot. So which of these cups do you think showed evidence of releasing the most energy? Well, I mean, it seems to me that cup C must have released more energy because it produced more bubbles. Like, it rose a lot more. It had the biggest change and the most movement. We know energy is required to make things move or change. And so C would have the most change and most movement. So that therefore it would have the most energy. Also, we need to think about which cup of yeast most likely reproduced the more. Well, if cup C was able to release more energy, since it had more energy storage molecules, then it's very likely that it would be the one also reproducing more. So if there's more energy storage molecules in C, then there's more reproduction that's going to happen. I do need to point out that the bubbles, are carbon dioxide. And there is bubbles, but it's not because they actually grew, it's because they're producing bubbles. The bubbles are carbon dioxide, and the carbon dioxide comes from a process that most organisms use to release energy called cellular respiration. So during cellular respiration, energy storage molecules like glucose combine with oxygen, producing water and carbon dioxide. Again, you should have learned this in the metabolism unit. So this process releases energy that organisms use for survival and reproduction. Because we saw bubbles, we know that the yeast are releasing energy from sugar, which is an energy storage molecule, but we don't yet have any direct evidence that they're reproducing. So one of the things that happens in class when we do this experiment is people start freaking out and go, oh my God, it stinks, especially the next classes, because it does stink. That's one of the fun things about this is, one, you're working and watching the counter and seeing that these things appear to be growing, and maybe hearing them with the gases being released. And 2, it stinks, and so it causes complete chaos, and it's fun. So I'm sorry that you didn't get to do it. If you happen to have sugar and yeast and water, you could try this at home.